Congratulations. You have once again stumbled upon a horror movie that scared me to death. It is named Night Shift. Attention, brothers and sisters who are currently working the night shift. The village elders say that when working the night shift, one must stay awake and never fall asleep. This is because you are never sure if the colleague pulling an all-nighter with you is a human or a ghost. Fortunately, it is just a nightmare. Why does the young man have nightmares? Everything starts a few days ago. The young man is named John. He just graduated from college this year and found his first job. Unexpectedly, on his first day of work, it coincidentally falls on the Ghost Festival, also known as the Zhongyuan Festival. Since it is his first day at work, his mother insists on a full ritual and personally accompanies him. As everyone knows, in this folk custom, one should not speak carelessly during the Zhongyuan Festival. Of course, no one would say such things like the young man does. Just then, they encounter something being moved ahead. He cannot see clearly, but it appears to be paper figures. After that, the young man immediately starts cursing. He complains that such a large car blocks the way, preventing people from passing. He asks if their family built the road. His mother advises him that waiting a bit longer will not make them late. In short, the young man speaks a lot of unrestrained nonsense. He says disrespectful things, frivolous jokes, and words that normal people would not utter. Finally, the young man gets angry, directly gets out of the car, and chooses to walk to the company. Before leaving, his mother gives the young man a bundle of incense and an amulet. The narrator notes that these are all foreshadowing. She tells him to burn a few sticks of incense after work, since he said a lot of inauspicious things. Then the young man navigates to the company. He is also blindly fumbling around and accidentally arrives at a place. He looks up again and sees a security guard, who appears to be from the company. Then the young man walks into the company. The narrator notes that a woman in red walks in front of him. He enters the elevator. He follows closely behind to avoid waiting for the elevator and being delayed. However, when he enters the elevator and looks, the woman in red mysteriously disappears. Oh my God! He thinks if he was mistaken. Immediately after, the security guard from before mysteriously appears behind him. Then he arrives at his work floor. But at this moment, another shadow flashes past him. Oh my goodness! What a shift this is! Soon, he arrives at the company entrance. Looking at the company name, he seems to be a member. He knocks on the door for a long time, but it does not open. Immediately after, there is a commotion nearby. Looking again, it turns out to be another security guard. Let's call this security guard Big Brother. He is quite important later on. He just looks at Big Brother. Turning around again, he gets startled. He works with these people. There are 3 men and 2 women in total. They call the chubby man Fatty. Just like that, the young man briefly gets to know the people at the company. Then the narration returns to the security guard. He also returns to his post. However, what is strange is that the woman in red stands there staring. He seems not to notice her. In the blink of an eye, it is evening. The young man and his colleagues finally get off work. On their very first day, they work a little overtime. The company's business is busy. The young man says goodbye to his colleagues and gets into his car. Meanwhile, as a colleague walks away, he accidentally steps on some paper offerings burned by others. What is strange is that the security guard stares intently at him. It is unclear what that means. Soon, it is the next day. At the same time and place, the super cowardly young man sees the security guard again. The security guard still stands there staring. The woman in red appears again, walking in front of him. The young man anxiously enters the elevator. This time, the woman in red does not disappear. But strangely, the young man somehow suddenly sees his breath. What is happening? Why can he see his breath? Of course, the ambient temperature is low. What causes the low ambient temperature? It is the ghostly aura brought by the ghost. A bad premonition instantly wells up in the young man's heart. He subconsciously looks back at the woman in red behind him. After leaving the machine cave, the young man still wanted to turn around and look back. But the elevator door closes. He decides not to overthink it and needs to go to work. Note that the woman in red goes to the 4th floor, which is also a foreshadowing. In a blink of an eye, it is night again. That is right, the young man works overtime again. Just then, he suddenly hears a noise from upstairs. Then, eerie laughter comes from all around him. This is when the opening scene appears, but the narrator skips it to avoid scaring the audience a second time. In the end, it is just a nightmare. It is dinner time, so the group goes out to eat together. They return to work. He notices that his female colleague takes the stairs instead of the elevator. He asks her why she does not take the elevator. The female colleague says the elevator is too small and cannot fit 2 people. He is baffled after hearing this, because he rode the elevator with a woman in red that morning. The space was sufficient. They were not pressed against each other. He remains quite confused. Later, while eating, he finally understands what is happening. After listening to a story told by the fat man asks his colleagues if they know the story of why the company's elevator became narrower. Everyone asks in unison, why? The fat man explains. Legend says a woman committed suicide in the elevator, and blood splattered all over it. Some of the blood coagulated, and could not be wiped away. So the company boss came up with a solution, and added wooden panels to all sides of the elevator. This is why the elevator became narrower. After telling the story, the chubby man is also full, so he goes back to work. The young man also follows closely behind. At this moment, they notice someone is missing. Who is it? It is the thin man. The thin man, number 19, did not eat and is watching soccer here. But at this moment, he also hears a noise coming from upstairs. The thin man does not tolerate it. He immediately picks up a broom and starts poking upwards. While he is poking, the phone suddenly rings. Who is calling so late? After he answers, no one speaks. It then hangs up. On the other side, the young man also returns. He plans to take the elevator up, but when he enters, it is indeed just as the chubby man said. The elevator is indeed extremely narrow. It can only fit 1 person. At this moment, the young man is very puzzled. He wonders why the elevator was not narrow when he rode it the first 2 times. Immediately after, the young man inadvertently notices that the elevator's highest floor is the 3rd floor. That is not right. What he saw this morning was the 4th floor. How does the 4th floor become 3A? Then he starts exhaling white mist again. At this moment, an ominous premonition instantly surges in his heart. He instinctively looks up. This scares him. After walking out of the elevator, he quickly tells Fatty and Skinny that there is a red-dressed woman smiling at him inside the elevator. Fatty walks closer and looks, but sees nothing. He asks if he is sick, startling people late at night. But he thinks he is seeing things. So he goes to the restroom to wash his face and refresh himself to clear his head. But at this moment, the lights suddenly go out. Immediately after, he turns on his phone's flashlight and walks out. He looks into the office, but there is no one. Then he finds the security guard, who is always standing straight, at the door again, playing poker with Skinny. However, the mental state of these 2 people is clearly a bit abnormal. Seeing him walk over, the security guard asks him if he wants to play, stating that he has plenty of money, and asks if he sees, suggesting they play for higher stakes. He says whoever loses has to take out their own eyeball and give it to the other person. As he speaks, the security guard takes out his own eyeball. This scares him, and he quickly runs back to the office. He exclaims that he is scared to death and realizes he has encountered something unclean. At this moment, he remembers the amulet his mother gave him earlier. He must quickly find this item. Just as he finds it, heavy footsteps are heard from outside. He wonders who is coming. Looking at the slender red high heels, he knows it is the woman in red. She has come to catch him. At this moment, he dares not make a sound. The woman in red searches table after table but does not find him. At this moment, he hears no more footsteps. He thinks the woman in red has left, but then it turns out his amulet actually works and drives the woman in red away. After that, the young man quickly looks for his colleagues. He decides to call his colleagues. At this critical moment, his broken phone is also malfunctioning. He needs to buy a new one. What about the old one? He doesn't know what to do with the old one, and no one is looking for him. Is it a blessing? He hears the female colleagues cry for help in the elevator. She is trapped inside. But at this moment, the female colleague suddenly feels as if someone is behind her. This frightens the female colleague. Immediately after, the elevator ascends to the 4th floor. Hearing the commotion, the older man rushes over from behind. He quickly asks what is wrong. The young man is crying. The young man thinks the older man is a ghost and directly tells him not to come closer. The older man gets straight to the point. The older man insists he is a human. The older man then explains to the young man why this is happening. He explains that the reason is their disrespectful talk during the ghost festival, which brought trouble upon them. The young man asks what they should do. He says his female colleague was sent to the 4th floor. So the older man takes the young man to the 4th floor. Upon seeing this, not only is the female colleague there, but the fat man is also taken to the 4th floor, standing there blankly. The older man explains that the fat man must have been led into an illusion by a ghost. At this moment, the ghost is probably confusing him. It could absorb his vital energy at any time. So they must quickly wake up the fat man. Saying this, the two men open the door and wake up the fat man. At the same time, the woman in red appears. The older man asks her why she is doing this. He says every wrong has its perpetrator and every debt its debtor. He tells her not to harm people who are completely unrelated to her. The reason given by the woman in red is also very absurd.
害你的人不是他们啊！
所有男人都一样，他们都想占有我，玩弄我，然后抛弃我。
With that, the red-dressed woman gently waves her hand. The fatty and the thin man seem to be lifted up. The narrator does not know when the thin man appeared. John is also completely panicked. He quickly asks the security guard what to do. The security guard hears this and says he is just a security guard. How would he know any ghost exorcising spells? Then, the red-dressed woman sees that the two men do not take her seriously. She also directly tries to take both of them away. Seeing that the fatty and the thin man are about to be taken, they wonder what to do. The security guard says it seems they can only use this one move. After that, the security guard tells John to also kneel and beg for mercy. The one who caused the problem must solve it. They must quickly apologize to her. Hearing this, John remembers the incense his mother gave him earlier, and it now comes in handy. He lights the incense and starts bowing. Such bowing really works. Everything returns to normal. After experiencing this incident, the people in the company also realize their mistakes. Afterward, they offer incense to the ghost. They express their apologies to the offended ghost and ask for its forgiveness. The movie basically ends here. This movie probably wants to tell people that they should have reverence for traditional customs and deities. Of course, everyone knows this, and no one would say a bunch of inauspicious things like the young man.